The December air bit through my simple black suit as I stood outside the Metropolitan Museum of Art, watching Manhattan's elite arrive for the annual Thompson Family Foundation Gala. Luxury cars lined Fifth Avenue. Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, and Maseratis, their owners dripping in designer labels and generations of inherited wealth. My cousin Alexandra Thompson stepped out of her chauffeur-driven Mercedes, adjusting her Cartier diamonds with practiced elegance. She faltered slightly when she saw me, her perfect smile twisting into something less pleasant. "Isabel?" She peered at me through the winter twilight. "What are you doing here?" "The staff entrance is around back." I held up the valet ticket book I'd been given when I'd arrived. "Working, apparently. Your mother's orders." "Ah, yes." Alexandra's smile turned cruel. "Mother mentioned something about that. She thought it would be appropriate. After all, the valet section is where you belong." If only she knew that I could buy and sell her precious foundation 10 times over. That this struggling entrepreneur they loved to mock had built a tech empire worth billions. That tonight's gala was about to become very interesting indeed. "Someone has to park the cars," I said mildly, thinking of my own collection of luxury vehicles, secretly housed in a private garage across town. "Exactly." Alexandra brightened, missing my sarcasm entirely. "It's so good that you've finally found your level. We were all so worried when you rejected the family business to start that little company of yours." She adjusted her Hermes scarf. "What was it again? Some sort of computer thing?" "Something like that." I smiled, thinking of how Aurora Technologies had revolutionized artificial intelligence and quantum computing. How we'd just signed contracts worth billions with major tech giants. How my computer thing was about to change the world. But Alexandra was already clicking toward the museum steps in her Louboutins, not bothering to wait for a response. "Don't scratch the paint," she called over her shoulder. "These cars cost more than you make in a year." If she only knew that my net worth had surpassed the entire Thompson family fortune last quarter. The next hour passed in a parade of condescension as more relatives arrived. Uncle Philip barely glanced at me as he tossed his Porsche keys in my direction. Aunt Margaret made a show of explaining how her Ferrari's custom paint job cost more than my apartment, or what she assumed was my apartment, not knowing about my penthouse overlooking Central Park. My cousin Marcus, Alexandra's younger brother, was particularly entertaining. "Still playing entrepreneur?" he smirked, handing over his Lamborghini keys. "You know, there's always a place for you in the mailroom at Thompson Industries. Once you're done with this phase." I thought about the hostile takeover of Thompson Industries I'd orchestrated last month through a series of shell companies. By tomorrow morning, the board would announce the acquisition by Aurora Technologies, and Marcus would learn that his mailroom now belonged to me. "I'll keep that in mind," I said, pocketing his keys. The real entertainment began when my stepmother Victoria arrived. She'd married my father 3 months after my mother's death and had spent the next 20 years systematically pushing me out of the family business. Now she ruled the Thompson Family Foundation like her personal kingdom, using it to maintain her social standing while doing the bare minimum for actual charity. "Isabel." She managed to make my name sound like an unfortunate medical condition. "I'm so glad you accepted our employment opportunity. It shows you're finally understanding your place." I thought about the foundation's board meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning, where they would learn that their new majority shareholder was the stepdaughter Victoria had worked so hard to marginalize. "It's certainly educational," I replied. Victoria's lips thinned. "Yes, well, do try not to embarrass us. The guest list includes some very important people. The governor will be here, and the CEO of Aurora Technologies, though I don't expect you to know who that is." I suppressed a smile, thinking of the speech I would be giving later as Aurora's CEO. "I'll do my best to stay invisible." "See that you do." She swept up the steps, her designer gown trailing behind her. "And, Isabel, the help doesn't get dinner breaks. I expect you to stay at your post all night." I watched her disappear into the museum, then checked my watch. In exactly 2 hours, the Thompson family would learn exactly who they'd been looking down on all these years. The museum's grand hall had been transformed for the gala, crystal chandeliers casting elegant light over Manhattan's most powerful people. I slipped inside through a service entrance, changing from my simple suit into an elegant black evening gown that cost more than Alexandra's car. Victoria was holding court near the main stage, bragging about the foundation's accomplishments, all of which had been orchestrated by the army of underpaid staff she treated like servants. Alexandra and Marcus flanked her like perfectly dressed bookends, champagne flutes permanently attached to their manicure hands. The governor arrived, making a beeline for Victoria. "Mrs. Thompson, I've been looking forward to meeting Aurora Technologies' CEO. I heard they're making a major announcement tonight." Victoria preened. "Yes, we're so honored they chose our gala for their announcement. Though I must say, I'm surprised we haven't met their CEO before. Nobody seems to know much about them." "That's about to change," I murmured, stepping into the light. The MC approached the podium, tapping the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We're honored tonight to have our keynote speaker, the founder and CEO of Aurora Technologies." Victoria was already turning toward the stage, her social smile firmly in place. Alexandra straightened her diamonds. Marcus gulped his champagne. "Please welcome," the MC continued, "Ms. Isabel Thompson." The silence that fell over the room was absolute. Victoria's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. Alexandra's perfect mouth fell open. Marcus choked on his drink. I walked onto the stage, enjoying every click of my Louboutins against the marble. "Good evening." I smiled into the microphone. "For those who don't know me, I'm the CEO of Aurora Technologies, though some of you might know me better as your valet for the evening." The governor's eyes widened as he looked between me and Victoria, who had gone pale beneath her perfect makeup. "This must be a mistake." Alexandra stood up, her voice shrill. "Isabel runs some little startup. She parks cars." "Actually," I corrected her, "I run a multi-billion-dollar technology company. The same company that just acquired Thompson Industries." I paused, letting that sink in. "Surprise, Marcus. You don't have to offer me that mailroom position anymore." Marcus fell back into his chair, his face ashen. "But that's impossible." Victoria stepped forward. "The board would never sell to an outsider." "The board," I smiled, "didn't have a choice. Aurora Technologies has been buying shares through shell companies for the past year. As of this morning, we own 51% of Thompson Industries." I turned to the gathered crowd. "Which brings me to tonight's announcement." The next hour was a masterpiece of revenge served at precisely the right temperature. I detailed Aurora's plans for the future, how we would be restructuring Thompson Industries, modernizing its operations, and most importantly, completely overhauling the Thompson Family Foundation. The foundation's new mission, I announced, will be supporting entrepreneurs from underprivileged backgrounds. People who've been told they're only good enough to park cars. Victoria tried to interrupt, but her voice was lost in the applause. The governor was nodding approvingly. The press in attendance were frantically taking notes. "Of course, there will be some leadership changes," I continued, "starting with the foundation's board of directors." Alexandra gasped as I clicked to the next slide, showing the new board membership. Her name was conspicuously absent. "You can't do this." Victoria finally found her voice. "This foundation is our legacy." "Was your legacy," I corrected. "Just like Thompson Industries was my father's legacy before you maneuvered me out." I turned back to the audience. "Speaking of maneuvering, would anyone like to hear how my stepmother changed my father's will 2 days before his death?" Victoria went from pale to gray. That particular secret had been buried in private legal files that now belonged to me. "You see," I continued, 15 years ago, I was supposed to inherit control of Thompson Industries. Instead, I was left with nothing but my education and determination. Victoria here thought that would keep me in my place." I smiled directly at her. "How did that work out?" The room had gone from shocked silence to interested murmurs. The press were practically salivating. "So, I built something from nothing. Created a company that revolutionized technology while the Thompson family was busy maintaining their social calendar. And now," I gestured to the room around us, "now I own everything they tried to take from me." Marcus was frantically typing on his phone, probably trying to access his company email. "Your account has been suspended," I informed him, "along with your corporate credit cards." The board felt it was inappropriate for someone under SEC investigation to maintain executive privileges. "SEC investigation?" he squeaked. "Oh, did I forget to mention that? Our audit of Thompson Industries uncovered some very interesting accounting practices. The SEC will be particularly interested in your creative handling of client funds." Alexandra stood up again, swaying slightly. But your company we checked last year. It was nothing." "You checked what I wanted you to check," I corrected her. "The small office downtown? A front. The modest lifestyle? An act. The humble startup? A cover for what I was really building." I clicked to the next slide, showing Aurora's true organizational chart. "While you were all busy looking down on me, I was buying everything you valued." Victoria tried one last time. "The family will never accept this." "The family," I said quietly, "stopped being family the moment you decided I wasn't good enough to be part of it." I turned to the governor. "Governor, I believe you expressed interest in Aurora's new quantum computing initiative. Let's discuss it over dinner. I know a lovely restaurant. I own it now, actually. Used to be the Thompson family's favorite." The next hour was a blur of conversations with actually important people, tech leaders, politicians, philanthropists who were excited about the foundation's new direction. Victoria, Alexandra, and Marcus huddled in a corner, watching their social capital evaporate as Manhattan's elite rushed to align themselves with the real power in the room. "Your car is ready, Miss Thompson." A valet appeared at my elbow, one of my actual employees, not a family member pressed into service. "Thank you." I turned to my shell-shocked family. "Oh, and Victoria? The foundation's offices are being relocated. I'm turning the current building into a technology education center for underprivileged youth." "Where will we work?" Alexandra asked weakly. "We." I raised an eyebrow. "There is no we. Your positions have been eliminated. Though I hear there's an opening in the valet department." The press had a field day with the story. "Tech billionaire reveals identity at Family Foundation Gala," ran alongside. "Thompson family empire falls to stepdaughter they forced to park cars." Victoria's social calendar suddenly emptied as Manhattan society scrambled to align themselves with the new power dynamic. Marcus's SEC investigation made headlines a week later. Alexandra's designer wardrobe went up for auction to pay legal fees. And Victoria? She tried to book a table at her favorite restaurant, only to learn that her name had been permanently removed from all guest lists at the new owner's request. The Thompson Family Foundation transformed overnight. The stuffy offices were replaced with modern workspaces. The board of directors diversified. And most importantly, it started actually helping people instead of just hosting galas. I kept the valet ticket book as a souvenir, displaying it in my office next to Aurora's first quantum processor. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just succeeding, it's making sure everyone who doubted you has to park their own car while watching you drive away in something much better. The final touch was the new plaque installed in the foundation's lobby. "Success isn't about where you start. It's about where you refuse to stop." And below it, in smaller letters, "In memory of those who said we'd never be more than the people parking their cars." Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in the revenge itself. It's in watching people realize exactly who they've been looking down on all along. And sometimes, the best success story starts with a valet ticket and ends with an empire.